Hello and welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. This past weekend we have been bombarded by news from Spiel Essen 2024. We heard about loads of new games and industry shakeups and acquisitions, like Stonemaier Games purchasing the rights to the Tokaido line from Funforge. On top of that, we had Warhammer Day, where among all the usual teasers, Games Workshop revealed that they were publishing a new revised edition of their skirmish miniatures game, Warhammer Underworlds. The first edition came out 7 years ago, and at this point there are 58 warbands and thousands of cards. Naturally, that constant grind and evolution has led to a lot of rules bloat, so this new edition is an opportunity to take things back to basics. It looks like the card layouts are getting a complete redesign too. The new edition launches with a 2-player starter set featuring the Sneaky Skaven vs Stormcast Eternals. And what does that mean for existing players? It means what you already know it means. None of the old cards, boards or rules will be compatible with the new edition. The only thing you will be able to carry over to the new edition is your collection of miniatures. However, all 58 warbands will be getting revised rules, available for free digitally, and 16 will have physical rules available at launch, which, when combined with 4 all-new warbands, means there will be 20 purchasable teams right out of the gate, enabling this edition to hit the ground running. I was a big fan of Underworlds when it first came out, and I bought into each new wave up until the second starter set was released. That was the point where I saw the writing on the wall, realised I wasn't prepared to keep up with the new releases, and stopped collecting. Subsequently, it became difficult to find someone to play against, and eventually I sold everything I owned. A new edition coming out has certainly caught my attention, but if I'm being sensible, I know I don't want to jump back into that hamster wheel. I do wonder if the established players will take to a new rule set that will invalidate their existing teams. Time will tell, I suppose. But I feel I'm off on a tangent at this point because if you clicked on this video, I'm sure what you really want to know about is the news from Avalon Hill. So I suppose I better get to it. Avalon Hill used Essen to announce 3 new products, all of which I'm interested in. But the one I think the majority of my viewers will care about the most is, of course, HeroQuest First Light. The launching of pre-orders for First Light was the big news towards the end of last week, and while I didn't have the time to make a video then, I did make a short community post to let people know. If you are subscribed to my channel and you didn't get a notification about that post, please check your notifications are set to all. I do use the community system occasionally to post supplemental content, and I wouldn't want you to miss out on anything. Anyway, I did say in that post that there wasn't a whole lot of news, but what there is I will repeat for those who may have missed it. First Light is of course a brand new core set for HeroQuest, a new way to get into the game system. It's smaller, less expensive, less intimidating, but it still packs in the same great gameplay. I've said before I think this is a good idea, but not primarily because of the cheaper price point. Patient buyers who wait for seasonal sales can often get the full HeroQuest core system at bargain prices anyway. The big difference is in the scale of this new starter set. The smaller size means it's cheaper to warehouse, cheaper to transport, and takes up less space on a retail shelf. That means more stores, high street retailers, will consider stocking the game, which means more casual shoppers will see it, and then they will be more inclined to make a purchase because of the reasonable sticker price, which is, incidentally, $37.99 in the UK, $44.99 in Europe, and $49.99 in the US. And of course, for those people who shop online, they will benefit from discounts on the already reduced retail price, and shipping charges are going to be lower too. In all ways, I see this being a big boost to the game system, introducing it to a lot of new players, which will then drive interest in expansions and prolong the life of the game we all love. Great. But Avalon Hill aren't just thinking about new blood. They understand there is a core audience for this game, including many collectors who are going to be interested. And based only on what I've seen, I think Avalon Hill have done a decent job of balancing the desires of existing fans with the demands of new fans. There seems to be more than enough here to attract seasoned players to part with their cash. There are 4 new hero sculpts. I really wish we were getting the alternative gender miniatures we are still missing for the dwarf and the wizard, but it's still nice to get some more plastic. We are also getting a new boss. It's a dragon. I don't know. I need to see it in real life because looking at it front on in the product image, it looks a little bit off. It doesn't look to be as well sculpted as some of our previous large characters like the ogres, the giant ape and the serpent. I'm prepared to wait to see the miniature personally before making any firm judgment. The rest of the enemies and the doors are represented by standees, while furniture is represented with flat tokens. I think that's a reasonable concession to keep price and size down, and to prevent casual gamers from getting spooked. It also gives seasoned gamers a more portable copy of the game that they can take to clubs and events. The new board is double-sided and features a new cavern layout on the reverse. At the moment, that's only going to be compatible with quests from First Light, but it's also a fun tool for Zargons who like to homebrew their own missions. It's an official, brand new place to explore, for the first time ever in HeroQuest, and that's a pretty cool thing to have. Finally, on the subject of quests, this new starter set has a new 10-part quest penned by the OG himself, Stephen Baker. His quests are always great, as you would expect considering he is the original designer. So that's something for fans to get excited about. And I just think that's a really nice touch. HeroQuest under the guidance of Avalon Hill is breaking new ground. Hero packs like the Wandering Monk, quest packs like Jungles of Delthrak. We are starting to adventure beyond the realms originally conceived when the game first entered our lives back in 1989. But Stephen Baker is still a part of that adventure, making contributions and watching over his baby. And it feels only right and proper that he should pen new quests for a new starter set. It's absolutely essential that anyone new to this game sits down at the table and plays something that Stephen Baker created himself. Anything else wouldn't feel right. Oh, and if you have the HeroQuest companion app, you can try out the first quest from First Light right now, as it's been made available as a sample. So, as I have said, pre-orders for First Light are now live in certain territories, either from Hasbro Direct or from retailers such as Target in the US. But it looks like we have a bit of a wait, as the release date is set to be January 2025 in the US and February 2025 in other territories. I will be including links in the video description below for anyone who would like to lock in their pre-order now. Moving on, the second announcement from Avalon Hill I would like to talk about relates to Life in Reterra, which is a neat little tile placement game from Eric Lang and Ken Gruhl. Until recently, whenever I heard Lang's name, I would always think of his epic, somewhat bloated Kickstarter games for companies like Cool Mini or Not. But recently, he has put out 2 compact retail titles working in collaboration with other designers. That's Mass Effect Priority Hagelas for Modiphius and Life in Reterra for Hasbro Gaming. I enjoyed both games and I have reviewed them on the channel previously, so you might want to check out those reviews if you haven't seen them. Links in the video description. You know the drill. Well, Life in Reterra has been getting a lot of buzz and picking up some solid reviews. I know it's probably not the sort of game most of my viewers come here to see. It's a strategy focused tile placement game played for points rather than a dungeon adventure played for glory and gold. But for anyone looking for an accessible, lightweight game suitable for a family games night, I do think it's worth checking out. And now we are getting an expansion, Life in Reterra Moonrise, which, interestingly, is being released under the Avalon Hill name rather than the Hasbro Gaming name like the base game was. Did we need an expansion? I'm not entirely sure. The game seemed very complete out of the box, with lots of variability to keep repeated plays interesting. That said, Moonrise does look fun. It introduces 2 new sets of buildings, which is just going to add extra options for customizing building combinations at the start of the game. And I like that. I do enjoy expansions that add options without adding rules. However, some of those buildings do also interact with the new moon tiles. From what I can gather, at the start of the game, moon tiles are shuffled in with the land tiles and you select one of 3 moon boards. When you draw from the land tiles, if you draw a moon, you place it on the moon board, and when you have placed tiles equal to the number of players, they are awarded to the player who meets the specified criteria. One board will award the tiles to the player with the most buildings, another to the player with the most relics, and the last to the player with the most inhabitants. I expect moon tiles are worth points at the end of the game, but perhaps they will also have some other kind of effect as well. That all seems very clean and straightforward, very much in keeping with the Life in Reterra brand. It's just more buildings, which gives you more scope for building a productive settlement, combined with a lunar system that provides an additional way to score points by working towards a specific goal. If it's reasonably priced, this could be worth adding to the base game when it comes to retail in March 2025. The last piece of news is that on the heels of releasing a sparkly new edition of the classic game Talisman, Avalon Hill are now releasing a sparkly new edition of the classic Reiner Knizia game Kingdoms. Kingdoms first came out in 1994, and then it was given a very pretty reskin in 2007 as Beowulf the Movie board game. Now the system is leaving medieval fantasy behind and soaring into space with another reskin. This time players will take on the role of spacefaring freelance photographers. Hence, this new edition is called Cosmolancer. While there is fantastic new artwork to enjoy, the gameplay seems to be the same. Players place tiles with positive and negative modifiers on a grid, along with their scoring tokens. When the grid is full, each token scores points equal to its value, multiplied by the sum of the row and column it's in. It's classic Knizia, numbers-based brain-burning fun that plays out over 3 rounds and should be all wrapped up in around 30 minutes. Perfect for a midweek family gaming session after dinner, and an ideal way to sneak in some extra maths homework without the kids noticing. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait even longer for this than everything else Avalon Hill announced. It's not due for release until June 2025. Boo to that. But that is about all I have to say at the moment. Lots of exciting news, but probably not necessarily what HeroQuest fans had been hoping for. I think we have all been waiting for some kind of official word on Wizards of Zargon, and I really did think Essen might be when we heard about it. Surely it's coming in 2025. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because that is it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really like this video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so, and hopefully I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.